Today I'm going to talk about a technique in Bucks Point called Nook Pins. These are quite tricky when you first start doing them, so you do need a little bit of practice at them, but basically there are 3 different types of Nook Pins, and once you can identify which one it is, they're quite straightforward to get hold of. This pattern I designed deliberately to make use of the Nook Pins, and the flowers actually have all 3 Nook Pins within them. We have one here where the gimp dips down between the cloth stitch areas, and this pin in the dip is a Nook Pin. It dips down here in between 2 areas of cloth stitch. This is the second Nook Pin. And then the gimp comes up between the areas, and again a Nook Pin to hold it in place. So these are the 3 types of Nook Pins: the down, the sideways and the up ones. I'm just calling them that for ease of identification, but once you realise that it either dips down, in or up, it is a lot easier to get your head around what's actually happening. So I've got this piece of lace in progress. I'm going to show you the different Nook Pins on. Now if you want a reference to this, in my Bucks Point lace workbook I've actually done a page of diagrams in the book. This is the book, Bucks Point Lace Workbook, and on page 55 you have the Nook Pins, and they're all laid down with directions of work on there. But I'm going to go through them today. So the first one I'm going to do is actually the middle one that I've put in the page. It was just the way that I laid it out, but this is the first one in the Bucks Point Easter egg that we're going to look at. So the gimp is round the area that I've just completed in cloth stitch. Just adjust my pillow so you can see it as well as I can get it on camera. Bucks Point is quite tricky with the number of pins that you put in. So the gimp has come round this area here, or on the one below you can see it comes round the finished area, and there's a pinhole in the nook at the bottom of this. So the gimp has come round, it's gone through the pairs that are going to transfer into the next area, and we have this Nook Pin. Now obviously the gimp has got to go round this pin and then back up through the pairs that are going to work the next cloth stitch area. And to do this we take the pairs through, as I already have, and this pair that goes to that pin, the worker, or the pair, passive pair in this case, is passed through it, and then the pin is put in place. It has the twists on. Then you can take the gimp back through that pair, and at the moment you've just got it held in place. Take it back round to do this area, and I'll show you what happens when you get to actually work the Nook Pin. So we're going to work this cloth stitch area on the right of the flower. Now also on this pattern, if you do actually have the pattern, it does give you the working diagram and tells you basically where the Nook Pins are. It gives you a little bit more of a help than just telling you that this is a Nook Pin. So we start at the top pinhole. We've got the pairs coming in through the gimp, so we want 2 twists on, and we're going to cloth stitch from that top pinhole to the right for the first pin. Go there, and then we're coming across to the right and taking another pair in that's gone through the gimp, 2 twists, and work it. And I'll zoom back in now I've started working. And the first 3 pinholes are as you would expect, just working cloth stitch backwards and forwards. No twists on, so I'll put the twists on it. And you can see this is the one that's come through the Nook Pin. Now this pin over here, it actually goes out to work the pin outside. and it works with the worker from the trail on here. Now it's imitating a point ground stitch, but because I've got this colour in here, I'm actually going to cover the pin. Generally you wouldn't cover it, you would actually work it as a catch pin, but on this pattern, because it's a change of colour on the worker, I've just worked it like that to keep the worker in the right place. Now I'll work all the way across and I get to the nook pin. Now previously I've said that all of the pairs coming through the gimp want to have twists on before and after the gimp. When you're working this nook pin, they do not have twists on after they've come through the gimp. You now work a cloth stitch with them untwisted. We take the pin out of that nook pin and just place them on under the workers without any twists. We don't try and catch the loop that we've already made. And just move the pins a little bit, and you can see it in here. You've got the loop. The loop is going to be held in place with the twists between the two pieces of gimp, but not on the inside of it. And then we continue to work. And that loop will be held in place by that method. So that is the first of the nook pins. And I now just need to work down to the next one. Taking pairs out as I go for the different features. So this one will actually now go across the centre honeycomb, and then one will be left out there for the centre honeycomb, and we're back down to the bottom. There's only a few pins in each of these petals, so it doesn't take too long. And we're going to put twists on them. They're going to work a honeycomb in the middle there, and this one's going to come out there. So in the middle we're working a honeycomb, that should have a twist on. We're just working the honeycomb as normal for the centre of this flower. I'll just do the one on the other side to keep it level. You can fast forward through bits if you want to. You don't have to sit and watch me work all of this flower. You just fast forward to the nook pins if you want. So now we're on the second nook pin, which in the book, confusingly, perhaps is this first one. I've now done the little bit of ground over on the right hand side, a little bit of the trail, and I'm ready to work the next nook pin. Now the next nook pin on this one is in here, and it's the one that dips in sideways. And for this one you've got the two pairs here ready to work it. So the gimp has to come through it, ready to work it. Now sometimes this is worked using a passive pair and one that's in the cloth stitch. I'll just zoom back out and show you this. So sometimes it's a passive that comes down and it's the worker comes out and does it, and then sometimes it's this method where you've got two pairs that are going to work it. If this was the worker, it would be coming out, no twists from the passive, and you will go into the cloth stitch. In fact, we'll do it as a cloth stitch just to show you the difference. So you do it as the cloth stitch and a cloth stitch to cover it, and take the gimp straight back through. This makes that loop sit much closer to the actual pin, but I'm not sure you can actually see it on the camera. It does sit very, very close, and it's far better for it to be sitting close at this stage. Now because this is going to go into a honeycomb, it's got to have twists on, and it'll have twists on after it. You put twists on around the pin and you'll get a bigger loop, which may be what you want, but the tradition is not to have the twists in that point. So I'm now going to work down and get it to the point where I can show you the third one. So I've got the pairs here to continue working. They're all twisted through the gimp. And we're going to start with that top pin in exactly the same way as we've done before. Cross stitch, twist around the pin and working out towards the outside of the flower. So on the right hand side you work to the right first, and the left you work into the left. Which is just to this pattern and not a general rule. Some patterns will vary. I am actually going to be able to show you the third nook pin without completing the left hand side. I was hoping I could. I just realised I can, so that's great. So I'm going to take this out, work the pin outside. We put 3 twists on because we're coming to a point ground. We do the point ground stitch and work a catch pin. The catch pin is to prevent the gimp being pulled in when these threads go back across it. Now the next nook pin, you've got to work the nook pin and you will finish the whole of the petal before we can take the gimp round. So I work this nook pin just by cloth stitching through it, not put any twists on, and put the pin up. Again, I wanted the gimp when it comes around to sit very close to the area. Work back through. Now this pair that's left out here is the one that will secure it when it comes back round to it. I've finished the petal. It's been a little while since I worked these nook pins, so I do keep having to just check which one's which. And which one needs twists and which one doesn't, because it does make a difference to the outcome of them. That was going out, so we can leave that out. That was going out, and again it will have twists on, and I'm down to the bottom of the petal. Cover the pin and you put your twists on to bring this gimp round. Bring the gimp right round through all of the pairs, including the one worked at the nook. But this hasn't got twists on at the moment. Don't put twists on, take the gimp through and then put 2 twists on. Now remove the pin from the nook hole, making sure you get the right one. Use a long divider pin or something like that to get it the right one so you don't pull a lot out. Just put the pin under the gimp, tension it up, and then take the pair back through. That is now secured with the twists to hold the gimp in place and ready to work the next area. And you can take them all the pairs through to work the area, that one's staying out, to work the bottom petal. Obviously I'd have to work the left hand petal first, working the nook pin that side in exactly the same way. So the 3 nook pins on the right are mirror image on the left to work the flower. I hope that helped. If it has, give me a thumbs up. Any questions you want to ask, please feel free. And subscribe to the channel, it's free to watch, so that you hear of new videos coming soon. I've lots of ideas, but please let me know if there's anything you particularly want to see and I'll do my best to include it. Thanks for watching.